What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker.
Amir, Rahimi.
And today on The Great Debaters, we're doing something a little different with Money, Power, and Respect by the LOX. All right, Amir, so we're back here on The Great Debaters. Before we get into this LOX episode, please, as always, hit that subscribe button. It's right down there and it's free. That enables us to keep coming to y'all as often as possible with as many interviews, as many episodes of The Great Debaters, as many episodes of the 1st and 15th, and other things we have going on here on Unique Access Entertainment as possible. So please hit that subscribe button, like our content, share it, talk about it, be about it, each one, teach one. We appreciate your support. And if you're so inclined, you can also hit that join button. That also helps me slide Amir and my other friends at Unique Access a little more money as we go and do these videos. So please, thank you for everything and all the support. And we look forward to hearing from you guys always in the comment section as well. And this one, I'm sure, will be no exception. Rather than doing the whole album of the LOX, Money, Power, Respect, we're just doing the song. Because growing up in Maryland in 1997, 1998, this song was so big in the clubs, on the radio. It just seemed like such a smash. And of course, Rap City was playing this song in the video so much. MTV was as well. Everybody was playing this song, it seemed like, at least in Maryland, and then obviously in New York as well when I would go up to New York. But this song is so interesting to me on many, many levels. We got 4 verses on here. Each of the LOX has a verse. Lil' Kim does the chorus, and DMX ends the song. So Amir, let's start off with, kind of go through the song in order with Sheik jumping off the song, starting with the first verse. What did you think about his verse and getting into the song?
Yeah, Sheik has a pretty good verse, in my opinion. I don't know if it might be my second favorite verse on the song, actually. And one reason is because I'm a huge fan of the movie Usual Suspects, one of my favorite movies, and he has a line in there, and I know I'm already butchering it, but he has a line in there where he says something like, Sheik ain't your usual friend, so he says usual friend instead of usual suspect, because in the next line he says, I can switch it up like Kaiser and walk straight in the end, and right. Kaiser Sose is the infamous man in the movie who ends up being... Actually, I'm not going to ruin it for you, so I won't do that. But really, really, really good movie, and I did definitely like that bar a lot, and I think Sheik was definitely like in his pocket. He started off the song pretty well, and before that we had Lil' Kim, talking a little bit, and you're like, oh, Lil' Kim's on the song, dope. And I also want to talk about the beat just a little bit, since we're talking about the start of the song. I first hear the beat, and I'm like, okay, interesting. We got Lil' Kim on this beat, then we got Sheik. This is a pretty nice setup so far, and let's see how the rest of it goes on. But that was my first impression of that verse. Sheik, I thought, did really well.
Yeah, speaking of the beat, D.O.C and Ron Amin-Ra Lawrence, man, one of my favorite productions of theirs, incredible. And with Sheik, I really also, since New York is so close-knit and didn't give a lot of shine to other people, that's how big Master P was, that Sheik started off with a nod and homage to Master P with the About It. And I was like, when I heard that, I was like, whoa. Yeah. That's how big Master P is, even in New York. And, his Ghetto D album had come out in the fall of 97 and was, the biggest thing, hit number 1, debuted at number 1 on the Billboard Top 200 of all things. So for Sheik to shout it out, I just thought was impressive. But then the Kaiser Sose passage Amir referred to was my second favorite part of it, or probably my favorite part of his verse. But, just to start off with a great verse from Sheik and Lil' Kim coming in at the beginning, that was one of the only things I don't like about this song, is I was hoping and expecting and anticipating a Lil' Kim verse, which we never got. Sure. But the fact that she's on all the choruses and everything, I think more than makes up for it, because she definitely brings a lot of energy and power and excitement to the song throughout the song, as well as the way the beat changes and percolates. I think it's amazing. So that's Sheik. And before we name our favorite verse, we're going through all the verses so you can get a little context. And next up is Styles P. So, Amir, what'd you think was Styles' verse?
Styles P, he's actually possibly, I don't know if we've discussed this in any other videos, but he's possibly my favorite rapper in the LOX. I know most people would say Jadakiss.
No, I'm with you. Styles is my favorite in the LOX.
He is just got flavor. He's got attitude. He's kind of got it all. I like his solo stuff a little bit too, like stuff here and there especially, and he's just dope. But Styles actually might have my least favorite verse on the song, man.
Okay.
It's entirely possible. thinking it over. I don't know. I think some of the song too, I think there's a little bit more on the money and a little bit less on the power aspect of it. And Styles, I'm the verse is cool. I'm not the craziest about it, but it is what it is. But to get the bridge and kind of, because now I want to talk about Lil' Kim's chorus right now, because that was in between. Definitely like the chorus. It's an extremely fast chorus too. Yeah. It ain't too lengthy. So they're really trying to give you like a taste of the chorus and really get these verses out, which is one of the interesting approaches in my opinion. Because also you want to be able to play like the whole song on the radio. You got 4 verses, you got a chorus, so that's also interesting too. But I want to hear what you think about that Styles verse.
I liked it. Like you, I felt some of the other verses were stronger, even though I think Styles is my favorite member of the LOX. But I also just felt like his was good and had a lot of good imagery and stuff. But after Sheik and then Lil' Kim and then what we're going to get into in a minute, I was, I just thought it was cool and I was excited for it. But that was more or less it. Now, what about as we get into Jadakiss wrapping up the LOX portions of the song? What were you thinking?
Yeah, so Jadakiss, I really like his verse, and that's where I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna give Sheik the 2 slot or Jada the 2 slot. I think because of my love for Usual Suspects, I'm sliding with Sheik a little bit. But Jadakiss is a really dope verse, and he in his verse he tries to have like the lines all relate to each other. Or in that same bar where he says, like, if I can't kiss, I'm going to peck you. If I'm going to sneeze, I'm going to bless you, and all these things. So I was like, okay, I like that part of Jadakiss's verse. And then he talks about, like, making money was in the bakery or something like that. I think that was in his verse. I'm, like, mixing it all up. But, so he's talking more about the money, too, and all that. And then, the killing and all that. So Jadakiss, I think, has a pretty decent verse. And one thing, because I know we're going to talk about DMX too, I just want to shout out something on the single. We also got If You Think I'm Jiggy, the remix on here too. So, that's another thing too. But what do you think about that Kiss verse?
I liked it. I think the wordplay, when he does, as he does, of course, play with the words and the similes and metaphors and stuff, I think is the best part of his verse and something that I liked the most about it. So for me, it was another solid, borderline strong verse that I enjoyed and stuff. And it all sets it up, in my opinion, for what we're about to get from DMX. So as we get into the 4th and final verse, Amir, what did you think about what was happening with DMX on Money, Power, Respect?
Yeah, DMX. This is if you're paying attention, is my favorite verse for sure. Interesting how they had him anchor the song. I was thinking either they'd have him, I guess I was thinking they'd either have him at the very front or the very back end of the track. If I had to guess, I don't think they'd have him at the 2 or 3 slot. But DMX, man, first of all, I love the barking. That's one of the things that DMX has just been known for throughout his career. But he is just so vicious. I don't even know if, off the top of my head, I don't even know if he's talking about the money, power, or the respect. He's just going in, and I don't really care at that point because I'd rather just get like a crazy verse from DMX. And to be honest with you, I think context is very important here because me being, very young in 98, I wasn't listening to rap. So for me to kind of see back in the time machine, right? I know that his debut and even his second album both came out in 1998. So I'm thinking this came out in either 98 or 97 because on the CD it says 97 and 98, and I just don't know the exact. So I'm trying to think, where did DMX get like what exact time did he get so popular that he was getting single slots with the LOX and Lil Kim. That was something that was kind of in my head because I know he did like 4-3-2-1 and that was a big record, so maybe because of that.
Yeah,
then he did other things later.
The 97 era is when I remember, and I interviewed him for XXL back in the day as he was in anticipation for It's Dark and Hell is Hot, but he had all these guest appearances going on. 4-3-2-1, of course, was a huge single. Then you get this one. So he was on two of the biggest songs out of New York at the time, setting the stage for what he was about to unleash on the world, starting with, of course, Get At Me Dog as single-wise. But anyway, it was this 97, and there's a famous thing shout out to B-Love from JVC Force. He and I happened to be in New York. I was visiting him. We had gone up to visit his parents and stuff for New Year's, and we happened to hear DMX, Noriega, and Cannabis on Funkmaster Flex, this freestyle. And right there, I was like, DMX is going to be the man. And I'm sure you can find it on YouTube. I'm sure someone has recorded and put it up. But point being is, in 97, DMX had really established himself as the next dude. And I remember when I moved out here to California in 98, a lot of people didn't understand how big DMX was, which I thought was shocking because he was so big in Maryland and every time I went to New York. But yeah, anyway, that's when he blew up, was this 97 era.
No, it was a great verse, and now I want to hear what you think about the verse.
DMX is my favorite verse by far.
Definitely.
The barking I thought was crazy as usual, but the thing about the kidnapping the dude and the trunk and the mom's praying but he's not coming home and like all that, I was just like, that's even though it's only a few lines, that to me is that type of reflection and introspection of what's going on with different people. Because when you can tell a story, but tell a story from different people's perspectives as you're telling the story and what they're hoping and wanting, and as is done in good film and television and even books, of course, when you're able to do that and do it succinctly as DMX does here on the last verse of Money, Power, and Respect, I was just like blown away that in these 2 or 3 lines as he's describing this grisly murder that he's embarking upon, that he was able to throw the mom in, but then say, well, he ain't coming home, like that's wishful thinking and all this. I was like, wow, he really did it on such a short, condensed situation, which I thought was amazing and brilliant. And I think strategically they put him last, guesstimation wise, on the production side or just creatively, in order to have the record play the whole time, because back then you're still dealing with vinyl to a degree and CD and different things, so it would have been not obviously impossible, but you would play the whole record to hear DMX, so you'd get through Chic, Styles, and Jada, and then you'd get to DMX at the end, and I would have guesstimate that led to it being played on the radio, and even for mixes and stuff it'd be easier. But you could do all kinds of things even back in 97, 98. But that was always my guess and my thought, because it got people excited and wanted to hear the whole song, because DMX was coming at the end as a cleanup man. Shout out to Willie D.
That's a really good guess, actually, and I hadn't actually pieced that together, so that probably applies to hundreds, if not thousands of songs, to be honest, with that kind of lens. So, no, I think you probably hit it right on the head with that one.
And I think I also want to shout out, like I mentioned earlier, Lil Kim doing an amazing job on the song, because she, obviously being male and female, but also just her tone and her excitement and her energy is very similar to the LOX's, but because of her tone and her pitch and everything, it's so different. But it works so well to kind of balance and go off of, especially the LOX members in particular, because they're a little more in pocket, whereas DMX is so monstrous and everything. But at the same time, again, I'd mentioned D.O.C and Amir for making a great beat. And again, this is one of my favorite productions of theirs. And, you know, this is just one of those things that being a magical thing to reminisce on, but then also just to think about, especially in D.C. when I would be going to the clubs in D.C. at this time, man. It was just, this song was one of the biggest songs. It's one of those songs they play multiple times a night, which was, you know, unusual, but usual at the same time sometimes when the songs were as big as this one. So that's why I want to talk about it here with Amir on The Great Debaters. And as always, please check us down there in the comment section. Let us know what you think, what your favorite verse is on Money, Power, Respect, and what you think of what Amir and I had to say. As always, is right down there. Please subscribe, please join, and please, please, please spread the word about Unique Access. We're trying to keep growing and keep coming to y'all. I'm Soren Baker.
Amir, Rahimi.
Shout out to the LOX, DMX, Amir, D.O.C, Little Kim, Bad Boy, everybody for making such a great song.
In the beginning, hip-hop was ruled by the East Coast. Then the West Coast rose to prominence, thanks to gangster rap.
Straight out of Compton, crazy motherfucker named Ice Cube.
Hip-hop changed the world. Gangster rap changed the narrative.
I'm representing for the gangsters all across the world.
And then changed the world again.
Cause I'll come and take your life away.
The history of gangster rap features unheard stories, unseen photos and documents, all with exclusive interviews from the founders and players who shaped gangster rap.
I think a real gangster rapper has to scare you a little bit.
The history of gangster rap written by veteran rap journalist Soren Baker. In stores now.
Yo, what up? This is DJ Quick. Be sure to pick up my homeboy Soren Baker's book, The History of Gangster Rap, if you really want to know what we do.